Hey everyone, it's Professor Hatch. I am here to talk about the Discourse Community Outline. Um, I'm just going to share my screen and we'll get started. I want to make this video as fast as possible. It's going to be long, not crazy long, but it's going to be longish. There we go. So let's start with by looking at the assignment here. Uh, this is the sorry, I'm having a brain fart. This is the outline assignment for the Discourse Community Essay. If you want the full prompt, you can click on this link here and it'll take you to the essay prompt. I've already made a video for that. It's right there. We don't need to rehash that. Um, I am strongly recommending you watch this video. I really hope you watch this video before you start the assignment. Here's the outline template, which I've already downloaded and opened up on my computer. And you should be able to see this. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to kill my screen share real quick. Uh, Give me a second. Yeah. I just want to make sure I'm sharing my entire screen so that you can see when I switch back and forth between the Word doc and my browser. Okay, so this is the first outline you are writing for the semester. And because of that, I'm going to take just a little extra time here. Um, it, a lot of, let's go back to the assignment. A lot of people have not even been taught outlines. I don't know why that is. When I was in junior high, outlines were crammed down my throat. I'll never forget outlines. I'll remember how to outline long after I've forgotten the names of people I love. That's how strongly outlines were taught when I was in junior high. And that apparently is not the case anymore. I've had people tell me they've never been taught how to outline. So an outline literally, let's actually look at the basic essay structure page real quick, which we're going to do. There's a link to it down here. Da, da, da. There it is. Um, so this is a full outline as shown on the basic essay structure page, right? I'm not asking for all of this stuff. I'm not asking for any of the analysis. I'm only asking for the thesis statement, for the intro, and I'm not asking for anything for the conclusion. So going back to the outline assignment, what you have to turn in is going to look just like this, and it's just going to be these items. Okay. So going to the outline then. Uh, this is a five paragraph essay. In this first paragraph, you can see that I've got two pieces of evidence being used here instead of one. The evidence is always in the middle of a body paragraph unless you use two pieces of evidence, in which case it's always going to be in the middle of the context and the analysis. So if you're using two quotes in a paragraph, you're going to need to give set up the quote, give the quote, analyze the quote, which is a minimum of three sentences, and then uh, give more context, setting up the next quote, and then more analysis, minimum of three sentences. If you don't have three sentences to say about the quote, then you don't need the quote. Okay, so we're not going to be doing three sentences of analysis, or I should say, we're not going to be doing two pieces of evidence in any of these body paragraphs, at least not for this example. You can, I don't know why you would, 5 paragraph essay, 1,000 words, it's just not that long. One piece of evidence per paragraph should be fine. All right, we don't need analysis, so I'm getting rid of that in all three body paragraphs. You'll notice there's no transition in the final body paragraph. That's because you don't need one when you are going into the conclusion. I'm going to get rid of the conclusion entirely. And then also, all you need for the intro is the thesis statement. So the next thing to talk about is or the next thing to do is to decide what you are going to use each of these body paragraphs for. So for that, I am actually going to go back to the prompt real quick. What am I asking you to do here? One, Analyze a specific discourse community you belong to, student organizations, blah, 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 blah. I think for this example, I'm just going to go with video games, the gaming communities I belong to. Um, Evaluate how joining this discourse community has shaped your identity, communication skills, or understanding the specialized knowledge of the community. And then reflect on the role the discourse communities play in society. How do these communities facilitate or inclusion or exclusion? So I'm actually just going to go with these. Um, Analyze, evaluate, reflect. I'm not even going to paste. I'm just going to do this. Um, Capitalize that. Analyze. Maybe I'll even go with identify. Oh, identify and analyze. And then from the prompt, evaluate and reflect. And by the way, this is literally the first time evaluate and then reflect. This is the first time I have not pre-planned this at all. This is all off the top of my head, which is not to make me sound cool. It's just to make me just to point out that this is me coming to this assignment as fresh as possible, given that I actually wrote the assignment. So in the first body paragraph, I want to identify and analyze uh, the discourse community I belong to. And in the second paragraph, I want to evaluate the discourse community I belong to. And there are questions for each of these, I believe. And then finally, I'm going to reflect on the discourse community. So the topic sentence for the first body paragraph is um, uh, let's not do caps there. The discourse community, um, not that. The discourse community I belong to. Um, I don't like the way that's starting. Let's do this. One of the discourse communities. Let's get rid of that. Yes, one of the discourse communities I belong to is a group of I don't know fanatic fanatical gamers. Um, there's my topic sentence. Is that a great topic sentence? Yeah, fine. That's not going to win any awards, but it's doing the work it needs to do. Could it be better? Sure, but who cares? It's doing the work it needs to do. Is a group of fanatical gamers. Why would they make that? Sometimes spell check suggestions are stupid. Let this be a lesson in that. So let's look back over here at the prompt. Um, Evaluate how joining this community has shaped my identity, my communication skills, or understanding of the specialized knowledge of that community. Okay, so um, let's see. Off the top of my head, uh, let's see. I have been a member of this community, or I don't know, I'm just going to say over a decade. And how has it shaped? How has it shaped me? Let's look at the thing again. Um, how has it shaped my identity and my communication skills? Okay, cool. Um, it has taught me a great deal about how to talk to different types of gamers, gamer. I'm going to say gamers, different types of gamers. And then I'm going to go for some sort of discussion about like the different types of gamers. And then again, the last one, reflect on the role of discourse communities in society. How do these communities facilitate inclusion or exclusion, and why is understanding them important? Um, so for the third body paragraph, Um, my particular discourse community, um, my particular, I'm going to put in parentheses here just as a reminder, gaming discourse community is absolutely inclusive. However, there are several that not. And then actually that's gonna be my full topic sentence for the context of this, just to give you an example of what the context might look like. For the context of this, there are several communities, or I'm gonna say gaming communities that hyper fixate on specific aspects of gaming, such as let's see, yeah, min slash maxing, such as min maxing, uh, or role play, and those groups often don't want. Sorry, those groups often don't want players who aren't interested in those things to belong to their very specialized group. OUP. All right. So there you go. That's a little bit of context. And then I'm going to have a quote from something or other. I don't know. It might be an article from a gaming website that talks about, I don't know, what a pain in the ass min maxers can be. Although I myself am kind of a min maxer, if you have any idea what that is. And if you don't, just congratulations, you win. You don't need to know. But like I myself am a bit of a min maxer, but there are a lot of min maxers who are elitist creeps who just don't want to deal with anyone unless they're a min maxer, and they're kind of a bummer to be around. I would probably talk about something like that in this particular paragraph and use a quote from a again a reliable journalism source. Now, none of the in the reliable journalism sources diagram that I include with the prompt. Let's actually look at it for a second. Um, Nothing in here is about gaming. There are all kinds of specialized news sites for whatever it is, gaming or comic books or I don't know, cosplay, whatever, that will absolutely be considered a reliable journalism source. CNN's not going to be talking about min-maxing gamers. They don't care about that crap. So you're going to have to go for that. You're going to have to go to, I don't know, like IGN or a website like that. Or if you're talking about comic books, you're going to have to go to like comicbookresources.com or something along those lines. So if you have confusion or if you would just want any clarity about whether or not the source you're using is a legit source for this essay, just text me the link on Remind and I'll let you know, but probably it'll be fine. Okay. Anyway, let's go back to the outline. I am not going to make you find a quote. I'm not going to make you watch me find a quote, I should say. I am going to make you find one for yours. But anyway, for this particular outline, I'm just going to say some quote from what is the dude's name? Meltzer article. Meltzer article. And the reason I'm going to go with the Meltzer article here is because I'm talking about this particular community that I belong to, and Meltzer talks about the various aspects of a discourse community. So I will quote Meltzer talking about what discourse communities, what attributes they share in common, blah, blah, blah. And then in my analysis, which we're not doing for this outline, I will talk about how my discourse community, how those aspects look in my particular community. But again, we're not doing that for this assignment. And then how does like between the Ansel Dua article, How to Tame a Wild Tongue, and the is it the Graffin article, Anarchy in the 10th Grade, how do those tie into this? I have no idea. They do. You can absolutely find some common ground between one of those two articles and your discourse community. I guarantee you. And if you're having trouble doing that, you can text me on a Remind, or we can set up a Zoom session and talk about it. But It is absolutely possible. I think one of the things I might talk about, if I'm talking about the more enthusiastic min-maxers, the ones who aren't dicks in the particular community that I hang out with, then I might talk about the Anarchy in the 10th grade article. I might use a quote from the Anarchy in the 10th grade article. Um, Honestly, gaming in general has kind of a 10th grade vibe to it. So I think that would probably be the article I would lean toward between those two for this particular outline. So I'm just going to say some quote from the Graphin article, and then yeah, evidence here. Some quote from, I'm just going to say IGN because they talk about video, or you know what, maybe Otaku. Otaku. There you go. Um, so though those are now I've got my evidence, which ideally before you start writing this outline, you probably will have an idea at least of which quotes you want to use from these various sources in order to make your point. I've got that. I've got my topic sentences. So let's look at my topic sentences real quick. Let's see. One of the discourse communities I belong to is a group of fanatical gamers. I have been a member of this community for over a decade. It has taught me a great deal about how to talk to different types of gamers. My particular discourse community is absolutely inclusive. However, there are several that are not. So based on these three things, I'm going to write a working thesis statement that does not have to be brilliant at all. But and I'm literally going to put it together from those three topic sentences. So um, uh, let's see. I don't want to all caps that, belonged to a discourse community of fanatical fanatical gamers for over a decade. Um, for over a decade now, and it has taught me to taught me how to communicate with all kinds of gamers with varying degrees of enthusiasm. um, I'm going to do a semicolon. Um, no, I'm not. The comma. And while my community is very inclusive, that should probably be a comma. And I actually am going to do a semicolon up here. And I'm going to get rid of the and, I think. So, am I? I don't know. Let's leave the end in. I can deal with the grammar crap later. To be honest with you guys, grammar is something I've internalized like 35 years ago, and now I have to look up the rules because I've kind of forgotten all of it. I would be terrible if I had to teach grammar. I can teach how to write. I can't teach grammar. Good Lord. Anyway, and while my community is very inclusive, um, there are several, let's see, there are several, I'm just going to say for the moment, communities in that sphere that are not. Um, Tangential. Is that, yeah, whatever. Uh, Semi-related communities. Maybe that's a better way of saying it. Tangential things. Semi-related communities in that sphere that are not. Okay. I've belonged to a discourse community of fanatical gamers for over a decade now, and it has taught me how to communicate with all kinds of gamers with varying degrees of enthusiasm. And while my community is very inclusive, there are several semi-related communities in that sphere, which are not. Grammar brain, which are not. I believe it's which. Anyway, so there's my thesis statement. So I've put together the thesis statement. I have put together three topic sentences. I've come up with three quotes. Um, I'm not gonna. I gave you an example of context in the final body paragraph, and I'm not going to make you watch me come up with context for these specifically because I don't have actual quotes ready to go for this video. But I am going to give you an example of transitions. It's a 5 paragraph essay, which means 3 body paragraph, which means you only need 2 transitions. So a transition, let me actually just do the formula. The formula is always this. In addition to X, also Y. That's the formula. So if we're going with that formula, then we're talking about one of the discourse communities I belong to is a group of fanatical gamers. Um, so the transition is going to be something along these lines. If we look at the next topic sentence, I have been a member of this community for over a decade and it's taught me a great deal about how to talk to different types of gamers. So, um, not all caps. And in fact, I'm sorry, I'm going to do this real quick. Make that red and highlight it so it's clearly not what I'm trying to write. In addition to X, also Y. So, uh, well, being a member of this discourse community, a lot of you might be tired of hearing that phrase by now. And a lot of you might be wondering if it's okay to repeat the phrase discourse community over and over again. It is. Repeating key phrases and ideas is actually a good thing. The things you want to do is avoid the repetition of phrases that are just sort of I don't know, they're just performing a function. So one of the things, if you keep starting paragraphs like that, then that gets tiresome. Um, which is why it's a better idea to say one of the things, another thing, and finally the yet another thing that blah blah blah. That it's good to avoid the repetition, but if we're talking about discourse communities, then you're going to want to repeat that phrase. Um, well, being a member of this discourse community has uh, been what? Fun? Has been fun, has been entertaining and educational. It has also taught me how to deal with different kinds of people. And then if we go straight from that into the next topic sentence, I've been a member of this community for over a decade, and it has taught me a great deal about how to talk to different types of gamers. So you're just easing the reader from the idea you've been discussing into the next idea. That's the whole purpose of a transition. So once again, the next topic sentence is blah, 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 inclusive versus exclusive. So, um, well, my discourse community is, contains all kinds of different gamers and is therefore, uh, let's see, let's actually rewrite this. So let's see, clearly, my particular discourse community, so clearly my particular discourse community is open to all types of gamers, but there are plenty that are um, there. There's my transition. And again, I don't think that's a great transition, but the whole point of this is to just get it done as fast as possible. And actually, let's look at what I've done. I've got my thesis statement, I've got my topic sentences and my transitions for all 3 body paragraphs, the thesis statement for the intro. What I don't have is context. Oh, sorry, I put this in the wrong place. What I don't have is context. Probably did that for all of these. For any of my body paragraphs. Well, I don't have context for the first 2 body paragraphs. Let's correctly put the damn evidence where it belongs. Um, And evidence supports the topic sentence. There we go. Some quote from a talker. So what I don't have is context for the first two body paragraphs, but I literally, in the time that you've been watching this video, however many minutes that is, have done the entire assignment that needs to be turned in, with the exception of the context for the first two body paragraphs. And of course, all three of my quotes here are BS examples. They're not actual quotes because this video will double in length if I actually sit here and find a damn quote that's going to work for this. And neither of us want to do that. So anyway, that is the assignment. And obviously it's going to take you longer to do this than it took me for this video because you have to actually find quotes for this assignment, but that's okay. And I don't know. I know that I pull a lot of this stuff out of my head pretty quickly, like on the fly, but I've been doing this forever. I mean, I've been writing for literally 35, 40 years, something like that. 35 years. Um, and you haven't. So this is going to take you a little longer, but this is all you have to do. It does not need to be good. It needs to look just like this. It does not need to be great. Nothing about what I have written here is particularly good. It's fine. It's doing all the work it needs to be doing, but it's not like it's great writing. But that doesn't matter. This is doing exactly what the assignment is asking. So I'm actually going to save this and go back over here. I just want to show you, not the essay prompt, but this video you're watching will be embedded right here. And then this Word doc that I have just been working on will be linked to right here. So you can look at this Word doc as well as the student outline template while you're working on this assignment. And hopefully this is all useful to you. So yeah, I'm guessing 25 minutes for this video, maybe a little longer. Thanks for being patient and watching it, or at least skipping through the parts that were helpful to you. And as always, if you have questions about anything, please text me on Remind, which you can do. I will remind you 24/7. If you have a question and you're working on this at 3 in the morning, text me on Remind. The phone, I don't allow Remind to make noises on my phone. If I'm awake because I've got insomnia, I'll respond to you pretty much immediately because I guarantee you I'll be on my phone if I have insomnia. And if I'm asleep, I'll just text you in the morning when I wake up, and that'll be fine. Text me 24/7 if you have questions about this, all right? All right. I will talk to you in the next video. Bye.